got some good news about Call of Duty Vanguard. Kind of. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BlancOnline here today to chat to you more about some Call of Duty Vanguard. Now I know, I said I didn't want to make any more Vanguard videos because, to be quite frank, Vanguard is a piece of garbage, but there is some interesting news in regards to some perks that are going to be coming, assumedly, with the release of Vanguard. Now I'll sort of go through all the perks that have been leaked, we'll discuss it, and then I'll sort of, you know, give my final thoughts and opinions on it all. But here we go. Here on Twitter at the MW2 Ghost, reputable leaker, has leaked a couple of perks that will be coming for Vanguard. Here is the first one, which is called Serpentine, where sprinting reduces incoming damage. I'll sort of go through them and then I'll give my thoughts on each perk at the end of the video. Here's another perk, it's called Reaper. So basically this allows you to get kills with kill streaks that count towards additional streaks. So essentially how it was in Modern Warfare 2, for example. As well as that, your care packages have a higher chance to drop better. Your personal radar and UAVs last 50% longer. And your controlled streaks have 50% more health. So essentially, that means things like that little, I don't even know what you call it. Basically, things you use the remote control to control, allow that they get more health. Interesting as well on why this doesn't have counter UAVs or counter spy planes to be 50% longer. But that's a good thing, because if counter spy planes were 50% longer, then we would have a big issue. The next perk that we're going to talk about here is Lightweight. So Lightweight, a lot of people know what Lightweight is. It's coming back here, but in a different way. So Lightweight increases movement speed, which is what it normally does, but it also increases movement penalty from suppression. Now this is something that we haven't seen before, and again I'll talk about it sort of towards the end of the video. Here is another perk. It's called Piercing Vision, which sufficiently suppressed targets will be highlighted for a short time, rendering them visible through walls and obscuring effects. This is very similar to, I forget what the perk's called. I don't know. It's a perk in Warzone where essentially if you shoot someone, they're sort of outlined and you can see them through walls as well. This is kind of like that, except this is for suppressed people. So not even if you're sort of taking damage or you're shooting them, it's if they're being shot around and they can be seen. Again, thoughts and opinions later. Next we have Dauntless, which means you become immune to suppression and it slightly reduces movement speed. So kind of a counter to Lightweight, but again, we'll talk about it later. Here is another perk called Clandestine. Slain enemies drop intel packs that reveal nearby hostiles. A bonus, you get an intel ping at the start of each new life. That intel ping is basically just the red dots on the radar. Same sort of thing with when the enemies drop intel packs. This is, I guess the intel packs will look kind of similar to like how they did in COD Ghosts. Like, if you don't know, in COD Ghosts, if you killed someone, sometimes they'll drop like a little briefcase. You pick up the briefcase, you can do a challenge, and that's kind of it. But I mean, I don't know. And this is the final perk that has been leaked by MW2 Ghost. It's called Brawler. When using melee weapons, move speed and melee range are increased and regen immediately after a melee kill. Essentially, Commando from MW2. If you didn't know what Commando does, essentially what it did was if you had Commando on, you would literally fly towards an enemy to kill them. And if you don't know how annoying that was, in MW2 you are going to be found out how annoying this is going to be in Vanguard. Not only that, you also get a health regen after you get a kill using this perk. So yeah, so that's all the perks that were revealed or leaked through MW2 Ghost. My thoughts and opinions on it all. I say this is good news in the title because it's good news to know that everything we saw in the beta, some things have been left out, whether that be weapons or whether that be perks, right? So it's good that there's going to be more content at launch than what we saw in the beta build of the game. In Call of Duty's previously, when they've had betas, essentially what would happen is they keep increasing the level cap up and up and up, and essentially they'll increase it to a point where players essentially have experienced everything in the game in terms of all the perks that can be unlocked in the game, all the weapons, or all the good weapons that can be unlocked in the game as well. That was sort of my fear with Vanguard as well to sort of know that we've reached level 30 and we've already sort of been like, okay, these are all the perks in the game. But now we know that's not the case, and now we know that there are some perks that are coming in the game that weren't in the beta. So that's good news there, to know that there is more in the game than what we've already experienced, which is what you expect, but it's not always what you get. Where this is bad news is that the perks are stupid. They're really, really dumb, because not only do some of these perks fix things that didn't need to be fixed in the first place, some of these perks have negative effects. We've never gotten perks that have negative effects. Now, you may look at this as a good thing. Personally, for me, as a traditionalist, I don't want my perks to give me negatives. You can do that through attachments. How do you have perks that give negatives to the player playing the game when you can't have ammo types that affect the way the gun shoots? A lot of these perks, to me, scream we're catering to bad players. For example, the perk that is known as, I'm trying to find it on my screen. The perk that is known as piercing vision. You don't even need to aim properly at the enemy players, and you basically have wall hacks. Really? And then lightweight, which increases movement speed, but increases movement penalty from suppression. So you're telling me that you want me to move around the map using lightweight, but you're gonna hinder that movement. So basically the perk cancels itself out because you're moving faster, but you're being suppressed more. So what does that change? Same thing, for example, with Serpentine. Sprinting reduces incoming damage. So you're telling me you want me to sprint around the map, but I'll be suppressed anyway, but it's fine because I'll reduce the incoming damage. Right. So imagine, right, let's say, for, I don't know where these perks are being tiered, right? You know, like there's no indication on where if this is going to be in 1, 2, or 3. Let's say, for example, we use lightweight and serpentine. So you'll move faster, you'll be suppressed more, but you won't have as much damage coming into you. Does that make players want to rush more? Or does that mean that these perks are crutch perks where you need to run these in order to have a normal experience? Or are these perks useless because no one's going to run them? Because why would you put on perks that don't benefit you? Perks are meant to benefit your playstyle or benefit the way you wanted to play. Like back in the day when there weren't all these crutch perks where you had to use them or else you can't play the game, like for example Ghost. In a game like Modern Warfare 2019, back in the day, you actually had to choose perks that depended on your playstyle. If you are running and gunning with an SMG, if say for example in a game like Modern Warfare 2, you would maybe run Ninja or maybe you would run Steady Aim, right? It was just a trade-off. You had to choose which one you wanted to run. Whereas now in Call of Duty, it seems like we're just putting things in there to benefit people who don't want to move around the map or who aren't good at the game. In the case of, for example, something like piercing vision, right? Or something like Dauntless, or something like clandestine, or something like brawler. Like, think about, right, Dauntless, you're immune to suppression but you reduce movement speed. So combine Dauntless with lightweight, you are immune to suppression and yet you move the same amount of speed throughout the map. Because if you're, say for example, your normal speed is increased through lightweight, but Dauntless reduces that movement speed, you're essentially just moving at the same speed as you would if you didn't have either perk equipped. So why are there perks that boost something, but then negate something that another perk boosts? You get what I mean? And do you understand why this is a problem? What they're doing, right? And Sledgehammer has done this already with the radar perk. What they're doing is they're creating problems with the features that they have in place. For example, the suppression feature, or the fact that the minimap is, you got the compass and the minimap and whatever is separate, right? So they're creating these problems and then they're fixing them through perks that also fixes other problems they made by other perks. So do you understand why this is a problem? And do you understand why having perks have cons for players is a problem? I see a lot of people on Twitter praising Sledgehammer because they're having all these perks and they're doing all these things because they think that, for example, Dauntless is promoting running around the map and promoting rushing and it's their way of saying, hey, look, you can have other playstyles here in Vanguard. But what they don't realize is that running these perks, whether you run them or not, your movement's the same. Whether you run Dauntless and Lightweight at the same time, you might as well not run either, because your movement will be the same if you didn't run either. Yeah, you'd be immune to suppression, but you get no benefit from having Lightweight. So what's the point of running Lightweight? Or if you just run Dauntless, then you're slower. So you wouldn't want to move around the map as much because you are slower, and you won't be able to move in and out or get out of gunfights or get out of situations quick enough because you're slower. A lot of things to think about, right? And again, as I said, it's good to know that there's more to Vanguard than what we've seen in the beta, but what isn't good to see is that Sledgehammer is continuing to create problems for itself and then fixing those through things like perks, right? The best scenario here would have been to remove suppression. You remove suppression, then you don't need a perk like Dauntless. You remove suppression and Lightweight just is Lightweight. You move faster around the map and you don't need to have that negative there. You remove suppression and then there's no need for a perk like, what's that one called? Piercing Vision. You remove suppression and then there's no need for Piercing Vision, and you can replace that perk with something better. And then just like with Radar, you just put the normal minimap in the game and you don't need to take up a perk 2 slot with Radar, and you can replace it with something else. Maybe like Hardline, for example. I don't know, whatever perk 2 you want to put in there. So yeah, it's good news, kind of, because there's a lot of problems with the news and the leaks that we've got, right? And you've got to look at this with the mindset of not I'm a Call of Duty stan, I want to be a COD partner. You got to look at this and you got to think about the game. You got to think about how the game's going to play. People think that this is going to make the game a faster paced game. The game's already fairly slow, especially on 6v6. This arguably would make the game slower because no one's going to be running those perks that make you faster, because those perks that make you faster give you too many trade-offs to where there's no point running them in the first place. But anyways, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below, what do you think about all these leaked perks and how they affect the game, and what do you think? I know a lot of people in the comment section are not fans of Vanguard and don't want to buy Vanguard, but just sort of put your mind into playing Vanguard and let me know what you think about these perks. Click that subscribe button because next week is the Battlefield 2042 beta. I'll be grinding that out. I'll be having a lot of fun on that game. So if you want to check out some content from Battlefield 42, click that subscribe button. But of course, we'll still be running and doing some Vanguard videos. I had my little fucking period and I'm fine now. I'm happy to do videos on Vanguard. I'm still not buying it. Like, I'm gonna wait for the reviews and then I'll buy it. But I'm still gonna make videos on it, so don't worry. I'm not moving away from Call of Duty. I had my period and I've had my menstrual cycle. I've had my time and now I'm alright again. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Passing the rock, we're here in the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days. Got you, boy, I know he's a waste. Baby, I know that you want a little taste. I know you want all the bass in your face. Brand new bag and brand new nails. Me and Lil J, we Scotty MJ. Passing the rock, we're here in the fade. Pull up in a whip with 21 bays. Here come the bastards, 21 days. Got you, boy.